crisis of confidence in the legal profession. Sitaram to you, all listeners of Radio Jagati, 102.7 FM, and our viewers on TV Jagati. Trinidad and Tobago is facing a crisis in the legal profession. Join attorneys at law Kyle Taklal Singh and Stefan Ramkisoon, together with several members of the legal profession, as they discuss how we got here and the way forward. A crisis of confidence in the legal profession. Tuesday, 12th July at 7 p.m. A special edition of Section 1, live on radio and TV Jagati.
May God bless all nations.
Almighty God, most beneficial and merciful, Creator of the universe and embodiment of divine wisdom and light, we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. May your will be done in our nation as it is in the heavens. Please bless our political leader, party officials, activists, and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Give us the grace to always see good, be good, and do good, and the courage to serve the people. Protect us as we stand against injustice and iniquity, and inspire our endeavors to find the right solutions to the problems that are affecting our fellow citizens. Grant that we may always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of our country. Live from UNC Badloka, this is the Virtual Report, streaming on all platforms.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the UNC Virtual Platform. I am Janely Ramuta Ramsarup, and I am proud to be the counselor for the electoral district of Caratal Tortuga. I, together with my fellow UNC patriot, Miss Anjani Benjamin, the esteemed alderman in the Cuba Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, will be taking you through tonight's program. Being a UNC patriot means that you commit to the UNC standard of serving the people, whether you are in opposition or government, and regardless of whether or not there's an election on the horizon. Our service is genuine and consistent. It is what you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, deserve. And it is what we have always gotten from our brilliant leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessa. This evening, it is our privilege to be a part of the party's effort to report to the nation and guide you through tonight's lineup. Our first speaker is a bold and dynamic senator who has proven to be a powerhouse in the parliament. He is not afraid to call a spade and has fearlessly gone head-to-head with the PNM during debates in the Senate. He is a successful businessman and a dedicated Trinbagonian patriot. Please put your hands together for Senator Damian Leiter.
People's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one.
Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. This is a song I grew up listening to my grandmother sing it to me and sing it to my family when I grew up in Pity Valley in Diego Martin. My grandmother, a spiritual woman, sang many of these songs. But at the time, I didn't quite understand the relevance of this song. Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. But now, brothers and sisters, now it resonates with me. When I see the wickedness and the evil that is cast upon our nation by this Rowley-led PNM government, I understand the true meaning of that song that my grandmother sang. The way that they are taking advantage of citizens with education access shrinking, with crime running rampant and out of control, with more than 100,000 persons jobless and many thousands more hopeless. It could only be Satan through this government, standing in our path, inflicting pain on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. As a nation, people are starting to wake up. They are starting to have their voices heard, not just the opposition. Across the nation, they come together, and it is as though they are saying to Keith Rowley the words that my grandmother sang to me. Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. What he said? Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. The citizens are under pressure, and they have now created a remix to this song. Because I hear them now singing, move, Rowley, move, let we pass. Rowley, move and make way for the honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So I say good night to my political leader, who has just secured a victory in the internal elections of the United National Congress, along with her Star Slate team. Let us hear it for the Star Slate team and Kamala Persad-Bissessar. She is the brightest star, a star that we all cannot wait to rise to see restore the paradise that Trinidad and Tobago once was when she was the leader between 2010 and 2015. I want to say goodnight to all of my parliamentary colleagues here, to members of the National Executive, and to our UNC family who have gathered here in your hundreds tonight, and to the thousands of those listening onto the airwave tonight to this United National Congress Monday Night Forum. Brothers and sisters, when we look at the 5 biggest delivering ministries in this country, we see clearly that the government does not have the interests of the people at heart. We know that there is Satan in this land when we see what is happening in several key ministries in this country. When we look at the Ministry of Health, for instance, and we look at that one Tear Dialsing, we see a failure of our government in this sector. Citizens are still facing horror stories just to get a bed in a hospital. And many of the elderly in this country cannot get their CDAP prescriptions filled. So when I look at the cries of those people in the hospital, when I look at those old people in anguish, and I see their plight, I start to hear the words of my grandmother sing again when she said, "Move, Satan, move, let we pass. Move, Dial Singh, move, let we pass." When we look at the education system, what do we experience as a citizenry? Under the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, she built more than 106 schools for the people of this country. And this Rowley-led government hasn't even built one. And in fact, they have left 6 schools that were unfinished to languish and now become a cow shed and a cow pen. I don't know, maybe for Rowley, cow and goat, he's bringing them across there to feed them, I don't know. But brothers and sisters, we see a government who has abandoned our children. Laptops taken away from every school child. And what has been the result of this? 63% or some more than 12,000 students have failed in the SEA exams this year. A record by this government. These 12,000 children have been abandoned by this government. And when we see those children sitting down there without an education, and their parents holding their head because their children can't get a job, that is when the voice of my grandmother come back to my head. And you know what she says? "Move, Satan, move, let me pass. Move, bundles, move, let me pass." And now when we turn to the situation of crime in our country, it is clear to see that this government has lost their way. This failed national security, Mr. Fitzgerald, Sleepy Ethelbert Hines, has not only lost his way, but this man is clueless and a total waste of time when it comes to fighting crime in this country. This sleepy minister, under him, we see our police service not even be able to roll out the most simplest programs like body cams and body cameras, while citizens of our country to continue to be slaughtered and question marks raised about killings from the police. But I know my colleagues, some of my colleagues later tonight are going to talk more about national security, so I don't want to go there. But what I will say is that we are scared for our lives under this government, with the bloodshed reported daily. And this year, we are heading towards 600 murders in this country. And serious crime has skyrocketed under this wicked, draconian, Rowley-led PNM government. And when I see the bloodshed and the blood of our sons and daughters on the street, and a parent cry for their sons and daughters, I hear my grandmother's song knocking me on my head. You know what she say? "Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. Move, Ethelbert, move. Let we pass." And brothers and sisters, infrastructure is a basic need for citizens in this country. But when it rains, we see massive floods through the length and breadth of this nation. I am seeing some of my brothers here from the Sandy Grande Regional Corporation who has joined us here tonight. And if you see the floods in their area, in their corporation, if you see how they must fight for the people in Sandy Grande, and what does this government do? Starve them of resources. More than 10 sporting grounds in Sandy Grande has now been overgrown because they have not released the funds to the corporation in Sandy Grande. And we are calling We are calling on the Waka man. We are calling on the Cutlass man. We are calling on the Cutlass Snake man. Find the money to give what you have promised to the people of Sandy Grande. Don't starve them to try to win an election in the local government elections. Don't try to do that. So my brothers are here and they see the breakdown of infrastructure in this country. They have seen it under this government. There are more potholes than road to drive on now. In fact, if there is only one more pothole on the street, the road will become smooth. I don't know if that is the way in which the PNM outlined it in the manifesto of how to pave road. Allow it to get so bad with so much pothole that it becomes smooth again. Maybe that's their manifesto plan. Yet what they have done, increase fines to charge drivers. So they're increasing fines, but they refuse to fix the roads that those same drivers have to traverse on. And what, to add insult to injury, I heard my partner say it. What they come with? They come with new license permit, driver's permit. That is their solution to the road problems in this country. And when I see a man driving down the road and he busts his tire in a pothole and he hold his head and cry, what happened? I just hear the sound of my grandmother in my head again. Move, Satan, move. Let we pass. Move, Rohan, move. Let me pass. And brothers and sisters, when we look at the cost of living rising beyond the reach of the average citizen in this country, when we look at the basic necessities of food, shelter, and clothing, people in this country are suffering. They are not able to afford the most basic necessities. Whilst families are experiencing joblessness, there are also rising food prices. In fact, brothers and sisters, the National Financial Literacy Survey report of the Central Bank, published last week, has disclosed that families are living paycheck to paycheck. This is the Trinidad Guardian online article that was just yesterday put out, detailing the mass suffering of families in this country. The Central Bank report found that 29% of persons surveyed revealed that they didn't have enough money when the month came to the end to pay rent, to buy food, to buy books and uniform for their children, to buy lunch for their children because the government took away the food grant, the milk grant, the baby grant, school feeding program. This is not the United National Congress saying this. This is not the labor union saying this. This is the central bank where Rowley Partner sits there. He's saying it. His agency saying it. So, while the financiers of this government are living contract to contract, citizens in this nation are living paycheck to paycheck. That is what is going on in this country. Furthermore, when we look at the issue of food prices, when the owner of Sheikh Lisa called on the government to lower duties on imported flour in order to try to bring the prices down so that the people could afford flour, the government simply paid no attention and ignored him. They refused to lower duties because they want to protect NFM, so they say. A company that boasted about record percentage increases in profit in 2020 of over 400%, and that now is ailing and making a loss of over $700,000 in the first quarter of this year. So they suffer the people with these high prices in order to protect this NFM, instead of doing the job of the people, which Kamala Prasad Bisesa says is to serve the people, and serve the people. Why are you not subsidizing the price of flour instead of paying the rent and the legal briefs for the friends, family, and financiers of this government? Why are you not doing that? And then when imported macaroni was given stiff competition to the local producer to keep down the price of macaroni for the citizens of this country, what did this government do? They came to the parliament in 2 years and raised the duties twice on macaroni, a basic food necessity for citizens in this country. They took it from 20% to 40%. And when that wasn't good enough to protect their partner, they took it from 40% to 60%. That is what they do. And when we questioned the Minister of Trade as to why they were doing that, her response was to protect 50 jobs in the factory. That making any sense to all you? So you protecting 50 workers while more than 1.4 million people in this country are suffering now to the high prices of a basic commodity like macaroni. But of course we know that they were not only protecting 50 workers, but protecting the partner. That is what we know. If this government really wanted to help to bring down the food prices of the most basic commodities, they should not only remove VAT from food items like Kamala Persad-Bissessar did when she removed more than 7,000 items from the list of VAT, but they should reduce duties also. And if not to reduce duties, take it away altogether for basic food items and for baby food. Give citizens a chance to survive in this country. The government cannot control the shipping price, nor can they control the international commodity prices, but they can control how much they tax you, the citizens of this country. They can control that. But the concerns of the citizens about higher food prices and the finding from the central bank survey showing massive suffering where people don't have the money to make it in the end of the month falls on deaf ears by this uncaring, wicked Keith Christopher Rowley government. And when I see a mother and father cry because they can't feed their children and their babies are crying, that is when I hear the words of my grandmother enter my head again when he says, "Move, Satan, move, let we pass. Move, Imbert, move, let we pass." You see, brothers and sisters, businesses are collapsing under this government. More than 6,000 small and micro businesses have closed their doors last year alone, according to the various chambers of commerce. One only has to look at the video circulating around on social media of this Trincity Mall, where an entire wing, all the stores have been shut down. And I know people having a hard time, stores are closing, but I have to ask a question here tonight. Isn't it strange that all of those stores closed down in that wing? I have to ask the question, is it that the government, I'm asking a question, is it that the government is intentionally attempting to vacate tenants to run down the financial position of that mall? Because I understand the government is putting Trincity Mall up for sale. I ask myself the question, what is going on there? Is this the same Trincity Mall that is under the control of the government with their liquidators in Clico? I'm asking the Minister Imbert that. Is this the same Trincity Mall that we are now hearing is going to be put up for sale to friends, family, and financiers at a peppercorn rate? I'm just asking. Is the government driving tenants out so that they can have their financiers pick this mall up at a fire sale? The government must come clean, and they must tell us, is Clico solvent now if they are united with the CL Financial Group? The central bank must clear the air and declare if they are still acting within the law. especially as the stewards of any part of the CL Financial and Clico estate. I am just asking, because I understand that a subsidiary of Clico made $1 billion in profit here. Group would no longer be solvent if reunited. They want to know. The shareholders of Financial want to know. Clear the central bank. Let the chips fall. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If the company is solvent, then you must return it to people and stop selling off the assets. Stop doing that. So as I come to a near close, then we hear this fella by the name of Fitzgerald, sleepy at Albert Hines, come out and tell the nation that those riots in his constituency was as a result of some orchestrated plan, somebody financing it. Well, I am asking you tonight, your name man, call the name of the person who is financing it. Because you're playing, you have been caught. You are playing from the same hymn sheet and playbook as Stuart Smallpin Young. When he did that a couple years ago when the riot supported Spain, he said the same thing. And up to now, we don't know who financed them. Up to now. And then the Prime Minister tried to change the narrative and call for better parenting. That is needed. What they have not committed to is to provide solutions to fix the problems of the constituency that they, the PNM, represent. This is why they are facing riots from their own constituents. And instead of attending to the needs of people who voted for the PNM, ever since the West Indian Federation collapsed, they are checking to see who caused riots. Let me tell you what caused the riot. The people are fed up of poor education. The people are fed up of poor health care. The people are fed up of poor infrastructure. When a cesspit is exposed in the Beatum for months, the people are fed up of poor national security when they see questionable killings. And I'm not going to talk about that because I think speakers will talk about that. And the people are fed up of joblessness when they have no money to feed their families. This is why they are rioting. Don't drop your people under the bus, Rowley. Don't drop your constituents under the bus, Hines. Get up and man up. They voted for you. Do your work. Do your work. This government should heed and observe what happened in Sri Lanka, where the people rioted and demanded the resignation of the head of the government there. They should observe what happened in the United Kingdom when the Prime Minister has been asked to resign. And in other words, they could do all of we a favor and just leave now. Just leave now, PNM. Leave now. The last time, and as I come to a close, the last time the people had a government that cared was under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. In healthcare, she built hospitals across the country, Point Fortin, Arima, Kuva. The government has failed to recognize that people have a right to good health care in this country. It cannot be that only the friends, family, and financiers could get good health care. If this government cared about education, our children, as Kamla Prasad Bisesa did, they would have opened the GATE program wide open, because our children deserve the best education. All of our children must benefit. If this government had rolled out an infrastructure program as Kamla Prasad Bisesa did, citizens would have functioning roads and less flooding in Sandy Grande and St. Helena. It cannot only be that smooth roads on the route to the golf course for Keith Rowley is the only mandate of this government. If you gave them jobs like Kamala did, over 50,000 jobs, then they would not have over 100,000 persons jobless here today under this government. So, brothers and sisters, the people of Trinidad and Tobago are fed up. We are saying that their time is up. Of the injustices from Keith Rowley, PNM government, we can take no more of it. I have listened over the weeks to my colleagues saying, come down from there, Rowley, come down from there. But I saying something different tonight. Come next general election, when we restore the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bissessar as Prime Minister, and when we riot with our fingers, when we riot with our voting fingers, and we say to Keith Rowley, enough is enough, because you have made us eat the bread that the devil need. So for this oppression of the masses, I come to you in closing to say the song of my grandmother once again. Move, Satan, move, let we pass. Move, Satan, move, let we pass. Move, Rowley, move, let we pass. Move, PNM, move, let the citizens pass. I thank you.
We're crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom. Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand, yeah. Come on! Cause this is the revolution. The people's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing.
Thank you very much, Senator Lyder. Thank you for the passion and the energy that you just threw across this stage and to all of you in public. Our second speaker today is a powerful, dynamic young woman, a trailblazer in her own rights. An active member of the local spiritual Baptist community, she attended the Cohen-Hamilton Secondary and Southern Community College. She went on to obtain a diploma in computer studies from the School of Accounting and Management and holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental and Natural Resource Management and Biology from the University of the West Indies. She has been involved with the UNC for a number of years, serving as the chair of the UNC Moruga-Tabelland constituency executive before being elected as the counselor for the Hindustan St. Mary's area. In 2020, she was elected as the first female member of parliament for the constituency of Moruga-Tabelland. Please put your hands together as we welcome the MP for Moruga-Tabelland, Miss Michelle Benjamin.
Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution.
Good night to my UNC family. Let me hear it in this building. I would like to say a special good night to my honorable political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, to all the MPs and senators gathered here, and again to you, my UNC family, locked on to this live broadcast, and to the members seated here tonight. I am here to tell you a tale of pure victimization. Victimization by this wicked, incompetent PNM government. When they don't get their way, just like their leader, they bully and they victimize. My farmers in Moruga-Tabelland could tell that tale all too well. But why victimize Moruga-Tabelland constituency farmers, Mr. Prime Minister? And I want to say, Mr. Prime Minister, I'll put the title to your name, because unlike you, we here in the UNC, we have a little decorum. But while you run to Guyana, Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted to tell you that you could have visited Moruga-Tabelland, where we contribute to the food basket of Trinidad and Tobago, where we have the potential to reduce the import bill and increase our export. where we could earn foreign exchange. The farmers of Murga Tableland continue to be sidestepped by this government, and I cannot understand why. They are here and they are present and they are ready to contribute to the nation's food basket. So why has this government continued to serve them with inaction, continue to victimize them? Why, I tell you? My farmers sit on the wayside and they wonder, why are we being victimized? Why don't we have the infrastructure needed? What have we done wrong other than support this wicked, incompetent government? But no longer, they say, no longer shall they do so. While we are plagued with various headlines throughout the nation media ways, throughout the printed media, we are plagued with headlines. Newsday article, October 6, 2021. Food prices soar in Trinidad and Tobago. Guardian, January 5th, 2022. Pay more for food? Why should we pay more for food? Express, March 31st, 2022. Food prices increased, and not by 1%, not by the 2% that they want to give to the public servants, but by 9.7% in 2 years. Newsday article, the 18th of April, 2022. Food prices jumped to 8.6%. Newsday article again, June 21st, 2022. Food prices go up. What headline have we not seen? You know what headline we have not seen? An increase in salary, a return of the baby grant. We have not seen those headlines, but we continue to suffer. We continue to suffer. We continue to be unable to pay our bills. We continue to be faced with indignation and this wicked government every time we enter any office because they have turned us down. We continue to be faced with closed doors, and we are asking, what could we do? We all know that video. Where we go do dread? Who remember that video? After the 2015 election of that PNM activist, where we go do dread? Now the whole of Trinidad and Tobago asking, where we go do dread? But I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago, what would we do when election bell is called? We will vote out this incompetent government. I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago here tonight, as my deputy political leader, Ms. Jolene John, would say, elections have consequences, and we have felt the bitter taste of this rowdy government. Like my colleague said, move, PNM move, let me pass. And we will no longer ask, what we going to do, Jared? But we know what we will do when election bell is ring. We will show up in our masses and we will vote out this wicked government. We have faced the bitter taste of bondage for too long. The cost of living is too high. When a normal citizen continues to receive increases every time they go to the grocery and nothing is increasing with regards to the salary, they are faced with rent, utility bills, food bills that they cannot meet on a monthly basis. They are running a budget, like this government, on a deficit. They are running their household on trust. Every person in this country has reached a trust week. A trust week is a week, the last week in the month, when you cannot afford anything. This government has put Trinidad and Tobago citizens on trust. We cannot afford to live in our own country. We need change now. While they eat steak and they eat ham and they could afford expensive jam, we cannot afford one chicken. You remember a long time when chicken was a luxury in the household and you could only have it on a Sunday? This wicked government has brought us back to those days when chicken is only afforded, and that is if you could afford on a Sunday. You will have that taste. It is so bad right now in my constituency where certain households cannot afford legumes. Peas. What is the price of a pound of peas? This government should hang their head in shame. I say PNM, hang your head in shame. Exit. Don't wait. Don't wait for what is happening in the outer world to happen here. Take a hint, exit. The people are under pressure. We don't want this government anymore. While the Prime Minister would say what we are facing is due to the impasse in Russia, it's not due to the impasse in Russia, it's because we have an incompetent government that did not put things in place. They had no foresight. I am telling you here tonight, had it been a government led by the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, we won't be saying what we go do, Dread. Things would have been in place. Mothers would have things to feed their children. But because what we go do, Dread? Because we did not take her call, we did not listen to Rodney Charles, MP Rodney Charles, when he said this government did not have a plan. But now we know. So I want to tell you, what we go do, Dread? When election is called, when local government election is called, my constituents, the constituents from Sandy Grande, from San Fernando West, we will show up and we will vote out this government. That is what we will do. It's no longer what we will do, Dread. We would not continue to let this government hurt the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Enough is a slogan we have pinned to everything we are saying, because, and I like to go a little further. You know when you say enough is enough? I am sick, tired, and fed up of this PNM government. And you want to know why I am sick, tired, and fed up of this PNM government? You know what it is to get a call from a mother. Mish, I don't know what I'm doing for the rest of the month, you know. Mish, I get 5 book lists. I just buy books. I ain't know what I go do, you know. Mish, the rent. Mish, the landlord. Mish, I get put out. And when you see UNC MPs show up, we show up with our, I would say, the grace from God and the will and the mandate from our political leaders. My colleague said, she said, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. But we show up with our pocket and our wallets. Some are paying landlords. We are making grocery. And this is not from assistance from this wicked government. We do it because we love the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We do it because we have a plan to remove the suffering. How could Trinidad and Tobago have voted out a prime minister that created over 50,000 jobs and put a prime minister that we lost 150, and now they want to increase your retirement age? Now they want to increase? Now they want to tell you you have to work till the age of 65? Are we accepting that? Trinidad and Tobago, I want us to sit down and think what this government is doing to us. You know. They are putting us 60 years backwards, you know. Trinidad and Tobago, I come from a rural constituency where my youths are unemployed and they do not have, sometimes I don't want to say they don't have hope, because as a Christian, once you're living and you're breathing and God is on the throne, you have hope. But with a government like within PNM, the People National Movement, and I want to say what that acronym really means, but I think I'll get a pre-action protocol letter, because every time one of the UNC strong activists hit a podium, we are faced with pre-action protocol letter, but we take it because we want to serve you. But I wouldn't say what that acronym means, but if you inbox me, I'm very responsive. Because it's time we speak it as it is. If we keep shouldering and we keep hiding, this government is going to put us back 60 years. Trinidad and Tobago, our import bill. What is our import bill for rice? Right now, we are spending over, approximately 120 million TT in imported rice. Again, my farmers in Murga Tableland, we are ready, we are able, we have the know-how. You could ask Senator Lyda, we have the Murga Gold, we have the Murga Hill rice. With the support from this government, we would not have been facing the price of a 9 kg, approximately $103 titty. We would have had a reduced price because we would have been producing our rice. We could have feed ourselves, but this government lacked foresight. And because of that, we are here today. When $100 could have given you a nip of flour, a bottle of oil, you could have got a half a chicken. Today, $100. If you're a mother and you go in the grocery, you will walk every aisle. You will make a second rounds, a third and a fourth, and you still don't know how to spend that $100. And that is what this government has done to us. And we have to remove them. We have to remove this wicked P&M government. The challenges that farmers face is far and wide, and it is not only inherent in Murga Tableland. When you have farmers to date still being affected by flood without compensation, we as the consumers, we absorb that bill when we go to the market. This government does not see that. They are not putting things in place to make our food basket at home any easier. When our farmers are faced with high chemical prices, when they have to face predial larceny, when the farmers have poor infrastructure, as a farmer right now they are operating at a loss. But this government don't see that. They are crippling every sector of our country. And we are sitting down and taking that. But you know how I want we to riot? We're going to riot with our finger. And as I said, it's not going to be where we go do dread. When election is called, we're going to show up in our masses and we're going to vote this wicked government out. Enough is enough. They only know how to do policies on paper, but we in the United National Congress know how to take it from the paper and implement it. So you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and the young population benefit. You benefit from schooling. You benefit from GATE. Not this government. I remember that way you could do dread videos all too well. Damian, no more GATE for we children, boy. Do you remember that? Well, we are saying that today. No more GATE. UE is saying that the numbers that enroll has dropped. You know why? Because it's no more GATE for we dread. We need to change that. We need to move this government. We need to think about our children. It's time now. And if I am the MP for Murga Tableland, and I stand here and I don't mention my roadways, and I don't show you videos of squander mania of taxpayers' dollars, then something is wrong. I want to show you a video of a facility that cost the country over $60 million, the agro-processing facility. To date, it is vacant. It is 5 empty shells. Every time you ask the Minister of Trade, we have commitment, we have commitment, we have commitment, we have commitment. I want to tell the Minister of Trade, I have young people willing to fill that. I have farmers willing to fill that. I have Lassavan farmers, Kunjal farmers willing to fill that with the support of a right-thinking government. And we know that is not the P&M government, but a Kamla-led government. So I am asking this government to step aside and let a true leader hold the reins. I would like to show you another facility. Now this one is the fishing port. And if you know the history of the Murga fishing port, it is something that was promised before I was born. We will go back to the 1960s here. And surprisingly, this structure here, now don't be fooled, that is just the galvanized fence, is what is happening behind that. The next picture will show. This would have been started, and I don't know if you could see the date, 2020, no. That is when they were spending the whole treasury trying to win Murga Tableland. But just like when Murga Tableland signaled, we had enough, the rest of the country will do the same. Now that is it. That is the structure. That is our 62 million plus there. The contractor is not getting any funding from the government. So he has, I would say, pull out. He has a security guard and a foreman he's paying, but this is our money. And I want to call on the Minister of Works to report to the constituents of Murga Tableland, why is this project at a standstill? This project could create jobs. This project could give a father a day work, and he would be able to feed his family. So I am calling on Rowan Sinodon to account and tell us what is the status of this fishing facility. I won't put the blame on the contractor because we know all too well they don't like to pay. What are we going to do, Jared? I would like to show you another video, and this would be the Lengua roadway, and my heart goes out to this constituent. We would have had several site visits on this same site. I would have raised it in Parliament. We got commitment from the minister. This project, he said, cannot be done in the rainy season. We said, all right. We prayed, and the building it still stands by the grace of Almighty God. You promised us that you're going to repair this landslip. But one more shower of rain. Praise God.
February of this year.
I don't want to say what that TikTok video, but we also saw that viral video that said why the storm did not come. And it was because, as my colleague said, move Satan, move God pitied us. And that storm did not come. Had that storm came, that man would have lost his home. Now that is Mr. Robinson. This landslip was promised to be started on the 15th of February, and to date, we are still waiting. We have letters, we have videos with the minister saying that it's awarded, it will start. That's a letter he sent to me saying that the project will start the 15th of February. We are here the 11th of July, and the project has not started, and Mr. Robin is on the verge of losing not one, but two-story structures. The next video is something that would have accelerated over the weekend. Now this is in Robert Village, Tableland, where I have approximately 150 homeowners cannot leave their home. So this is in Robert Village, Tableland. That entire roadway has given way. Ministry of Works is saying that contract is award, but as always, funding is the problem. And this is just a few of the issues that we have in Murga Tableland. When next I take to the podium, I will tell you of the story of how you spend $178 million and nothing changes on our roadway. But this one is dear to my heart because if something is not done, I have farmers, pineapple farmers, as we know Tableland is home to the pineapple farmers. I have pineapple farmers that cannot access their crop. I have homeowners beyond that point. As I said, 150 persons cannot leave if an emergency takes place. No ambulance can't go in, fire service cannot go in. So I'm calling again on the Minister of Works to hear the cries of the constituents of Murga Tableland, to come and do what we hired you to do. And the people, this government forgot that we hired them. We hired them by voting them there. But we're going to fire them by voting them out. And before I exit the podium tonight, I would like to spend my last few seconds saying farewell to a steward of the party, Mr. Puran Sarajit. Mr. Puran Sarajit lives in Puran Road in George Village, Tableland. A true UNC soldier at the age of 84. I will tell you of a person that will never miss a meeting, never miss an election. He's always sitting down at the poll, but that aside, a true community activist, always fighting and championing the cause. And I would like to join the family in saying farewell to a true soldier, Mr. Puran Sarajit, on behalf of the United National Congress, our honorable political leader, all the MPs, senators. We wish you farewell, and I know God will guide you on the next journey. I thank you, my UNC family.
Welcome to the revolution. People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom.
Want freedom.
Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand. Yeah.
Thank you, MP Michelle. Thank you. And everything that she said is a fact. It's not a lie, it's a fact. You know, under the leadership of Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the needs of each and every person of this country was met one way or another, directly or indirectly. And you know what's happening now? The PNM, which is the Promises Never Materialized administration, they are currently depriving us of basic essential needs. And we know what we have to do come election, local and general election. We have to vote for a true leader in that of Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Coming up next is a man of the people. He has a passion for the development of sports in Trinidad and Tobago and served as a coach to Olympic athletes. A former Minister of Sports during the Kamala Persad-Bissessar administration, he is now the host of the hit show Douglas Politics. He is famous for boldly calling out the PNM for their mismanagement of our beloved nation and is a fearless advocate on behalf of those who are neglected by this wicked and uncaring PNM government. Please welcome to the UNC virtual platform the one and only Senator Anil Roberts.
People's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing
Sitaram. Assalamu alaikum. Good night, my UNC warriors, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening. I must say it is a pleasure to follow my MP for Murga Tableland. But I'm jealous, I'm real jealous this evening because me ain't get no pre-action protocol yet. But tonight, I will fix that. Rowley, call Smallpin, Limo, call Puya Man, call AA Komena, call all of them. I want a pre-action protocol, Rowley. Tonight, self, I go get it. We are lost. Our country is lost. Our children are lost. You know you are well and truly lost when you take directions from a tourist. You know you are well and truly lost when a pathological liar speaks of truth. You know you are truly well and lost when a criminal is in charge of fighting crime. You know you are well and truly lost when a misogynist advises you to respect woman. You know you are well and truly lost when an Oreo dares to utter the word reparations when he's in charge of the Cheji. You know you are well and truly lost when an abusive bully speaks of respect. You know you are truly well and lost when a child abuser receives a report on child abuse. You know you are well and truly lost when a married man at age 65 can't wear a condom when horning his wife. And you vote for that. You vote for that to chart the future of our nation, then wonder why we gone to hell in a golf cart? Really? Rowley says crime is due to bad parenting. Well, it's not due to bad parenting. It's due to bad politics. Politics of division. Politics of emotion based on race. Politics of cheating with an EBC infiltrated with Balize juice. There's no merit in the society, and that's where crime stems from. Not from bad parenting alone. The PNM in the history of Trinidad and Tobago has never been kept out of government for 2 consecutive terms. The PNM has never been kept out. 1986, 33-3. And then the PNM put their machinery in place and they return to take us backward. Every time we move forward with intelligence and brilliance, up comes the oppression of the PNM, the incompetence of the PNM, the heartlessness of the PNM, the thieving of the PNM. 1995, UNC formed an alliance with NER. 2000, they won again, ready to serve their second term. And then the macarams and dividers showed their head, and Ramesh, Ralph, and Romeo shattered the dreams of a nation. And in comes the PNM to take us backward, to produce projects that never exist, but the money disappears, to produce a situation where crime escalates. 2010, in comes Kamla Prasad Bisesa leading a coalition government. And then the members of the Congress of the People, before we could read a cabinet note and formulate a policy, start to attack and cannibalize the government along with the PNM and the mass media that is supported by journalists who at the time were taking small pin left, right, and center, but writing against the government. And then after taking 25 steps forward in every ministry, the Ministry of the People eradicating poverty, the Ministry of Housing creating houses, the Ministry of Sport, Culture, moving opportunities, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Works and Transport, across the board, we move forward. And then comes evil. And we've now gone back, as MP Michelle Benjamin said, we've gone back to pre-colonial times. This Oreo is worse than the plantation master. We got emancipated from the Anglo-Saxon slave owners only to be replaced by a disgraceful Oreo PNM slave owner who puts up his mansion and his Balisay house without accountability while you suffer and stay hungry. Every time we move forward in this country, the PNM comes to shatter our dreams and our hopes. It's like building a sand castle on the water's edge in Toko. It will never work until we rid this country forever of the PNM. Not just Rowley, but the PNM. 50 years of PNM. PNM parenting and leadership has transformed black African people from scholars and those who excelled into those most at risk. And the PNM dares to say that they are the party for the black people. The PNM's policies have been deleterious to black African people for decades. The Black Power Revolution was against the PNM. Black was fighting against the PNM. Don't tell me vote PNM because I'm black, then I don't like myself. It's like voting to get coffee in my teeth every morning after eating doubles and drinking coffee. Voting for the PNM as a black man is a disgrace. It is a vote for abuse, a vote for rejection, a vote for oppression. You must lead by example. Rowley talks about parenting. When you lead by example, the people follow. So if we are violent, if we have children being abused, if murders happen at every corner, every nook and cranny, if hoarding starts in the cabinet, it will continue down to every nook and cranny across Trinidad and Tobago. If there is no respect at President's house, there is no respect on the ground from Matlat to Toko to Shagaramat down to Labre. Leaders lead by example. When I played football for Fatima, my captain was Sean Ramdo. He wouldn't say a word on the field. He wouldn't say a word in training. He talked very soft when you had to lean forward to hear him. But when he is at training, or when he's working hard, or if we're running around the savannah, or if we put on the uniform, he leads by example and we follow. He didn't need to say a word because he worked hard, he listened to the coach, he did what was necessary, and his troops followed him. You have a prime minister that is the worst human being to ever grace the Twin Island Republic. I am talking of human being, not leader, because he is not a leader. That's why we are in a mess. You can see why evil pervades this country, because you elected through a cheating EBC an evil human being. Stop to think, because you need to think. Imagine this man looked at another human being, a leader of his party, a former prime minister, as he was ailing. His health was falling apart. This man called Keith Rowley watched a sick human being and took pride, praise, and celebrated the demise of another human being. And you dip your finger for that and then wonder why we in evil, why the country is violent, why children are being abused. You dip your finger for that? I detest Keith Rowley. But not one day would you hear me wish bad health or ill health on him. I wish he lived to 142 to learn and feel the pain when Kamala come back to be prime minister and the UNC wipes him out of office. I want him to feel it, to see what real governance is, what real leadership is. A father or a mother, a prime minister must be a father or a mother. Now think carefully. On one hand, you have a lady married 51 years, a mother, a grandmother, all she children on the inside, taking care of other people, taking care of children, not only in Siparia, but across the country, whether she's prime minister or not prime minister. That's one choice. And then you have a man who only minding the inside children and ignoring the outside one. The man who left his son for 44 years before he tell you, hey, look my boy here. And he comes to talk about parenting. If he cannot even love the product of his loins, even though the loins are working too good now, even if he can't love that, how are he going to love you? How are we going to love labor? How are we going to love constituents? How are we going to love victims of crime? How are we going to love children? How are we going to love the athletes? How are we going to love the pan man? How are we going to love single mothers? How are we going to love the people? Rowley is an absentee father. And an absentee father also goes AWOL. Where was Rowley for 26 days in June? Where was he? Rowley, did the U.S. authorities call you in for questioning Rowley? Rowley, shout at me now, Rowley. I's not Baho. I want pre-action. Rowley, did the U.S. authorities call you in for questioning, you miscreant? Did you have to answer questions about large amounts of US floating all around you? Rowley, answer the question. Did you stay in LA or did you take flights to Washington back and forth? Rowley, did Lima come to advise you while you were being questioned? Rowley, answer the question. Rowley takes golf. He takes more holidays than any other prime minister in history, while he's the laziest misogynist in the history of prime ministerial office. But you vote for that. Not me, not the UNC, not the intelligent people, not passionate people who believe in policy and understand and get away from the mass media lies about Kamala Persad-Bissessar. You who are hoodwinked to think that Rowley black. I told you the last time Rowley was black was when he was coming out his father's scrotum. After that it wasn't no black again. Rowley is an abusive father. An abusive father sees about himself. And if the neighbor or the coach or the teacher or the principal disciplines the child, the abusive father, rather than saying, thank you, teacher, for correcting my child, thank you, coach, thank you, principal, the abusive father start to abuse the coach and the teacher. So Rowley start to abuse anything that question him. Law Association, abuse. Media, abuse. Integrity Commission, abuse. Commissioner of Police, abuse. Integrity Commission, again, abuse. Abuse across the board. That's an abusive father. But you dip your finger for abuse. Rowley is a lying father. Rowley is a lying father. And Manning, the man who he took pride in putting spirit lash on and boasted about it, said, show me a liar and I will show you a thief. Rowley, you is a Francoman pathological liar from Email Gate, Delsey Gate, Landgate Gate, Greenvale Gate, Renaissance Gate, every single gate. And Patrick Manning say, show me a liar and I will show you a thief, Rowley. Rowley is a selective father. Fathers don't select. Fathers love all. Good, bad, in between, misbehave. All that they produce, all that have the DNA. A true father loves all. Rowley does select which one he like and which one he ignore. Which one he tell all you he have and which one he don't claim. He might have twins by so in Victoria Keys and police watching them. The police don't even know who to look for and who we protecting and why. Because Rowley can't even come out and say, them is mine. When a father cannot say, them is mine, he need to go in court for maintenance. And then we wouldn't give him bail so he could go and deal with his business in a little bucket because Fitzgerald et Albert Hines say the conditions, they're nice. Rowley is a selective father even in his cabinet. The black benchers don't get no recusal. Black benchers don't get no recusal, but it's a black party. But to recuse, you have to look like Dwayne. Dwayne, you're black. You have to get recusal, you have to look like Small Pin. Small Pin, you can't be black because the anatomy and all don't match up. You understand? Rohan, you're black. No. This is the most honest Indian, the only one. That's why he in the PNM. Rowley is selective even in his cabinet because black benchers get nothing. Just ask Keith Scotland. Well, I lie, you know, because I'm going to tell you something what Keith Scotland get. But this is how sick the PNM is. Keith Scotland, me and know what Barry Padarat asking about any strong man with picky head, and so me and know me read that report yet. So me ain't sure what he talking about. Barry go fix up that. But Keith Scotland, you ain't get nothing. They put a Puya man who spent a long time in law school because he too dunce and can't spell Blanche shares, who putting up video with the arm flexing till he catch cramp in his mouth. A man who get demoted from AG and say he love to cut bush. The other day, Munilal say, boy, don't cut that, you go get sting, Maribonta go sting you. He gone up there to get sting so he could swell up more and tell all your girl, look. He also minding child and Pampers if all they talking about parents and ask him about that. If he buy Pampers recently, because Pampers get expensive. But here it is. We just saw again protests in Trinidad and Tobago, similar to after some protests in 2020 when video footage of police action, abuse, it was some fellas in a gold wet mantida. We saw their hands up and bullets fly. We saw police picking up things like corn, like them is chicken and fowl, them picking up things off the ground. They pick up the dead men and pell them in the van like Guti, and the place erupted in protest. And Stuart Small Pin Young say, them black boys ain't bright enough to protest as UNC went and paid them. Well, flash forward now. Same thing again. We waiting to hear the truth. I don't know the facts. I waiting for the investigation. But the people say, and they feel, and the eyewitness accounts say, something need to be investigated, and boom, riots again. And out comes Fitzgerald, Lagoon, Ethelbert, Pomsite, Rasta, Hines to say them black people not bright enough to see that something wrong and to protest for themselves. They can't unite because black people don't unite. It had to be an Indian UNC to come and pay them to riot. Well, come and show we. narcolepsy, sativa sleeper. You're so high on life, you just fall asleep on yourself. Ethelbert, come and tell we, show we who pay, when they pay. You big clown. And while you're telling me that, answer we, if Special Branch had to be ducking because a gun discharged somewhere by you inside a car. Let me hear you, Ethelbert. But after those riots, we have an article written on Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. Prime Minister announces community recovery program for underprivileged areas. Prime Minister Keith Rowley has announced the forming of a community recovery program for Trinidad and Tobago requiring special attention. Following a week of protests over the police-involved killings of 3 men in Mova, Dr. Rowley said he understood the frustration and felt the protesters. Boy, I reading this and just had to laugh. Today, the Cabinet approved the establishment of the National Recovery Program, led by a team of persons whose skills will allow the program to determine the action plans for these areas. Rowley continued, he said, it is only right that the residents in those areas get a fair shot at success, something that has been far from the grasp for so far. Them vote PNM all their life, but somehow resources far from the grasp for so long, but then it's always PNM. That's what Rowley is saying, but it's all right. Most people in those areas have the same ambition, require the same service, require peace and prosperity. So hotspot and dismiss is not how we'll approach this. We'll approach it as special areas requiring special attention. Well, what do you think? Nada, nothing, niet, zip, nada, nothing for you. Because if a man cannot take care of his own children, how you gonna care about you? All you vote for that. Then his champion of black man, Stuart Smallpin Young, the black man, hey, black power, like Obika and all of them, and Jack. Oh yes, the great Kwame Ture says, yes, look at this black fighter, this PNM warrior for black people, Stuart Smallpin Young. He said, the National Security Minister and Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Stuart Young says, the Community Recovery, CRC, has been hard at work. This is Thursday, 14 January 2021, and he called out some names on the committee. Education Minister Nyan Gatsby Dolly, Children Authority Director Nicola Harvey Mitchell, you are question, police looking for you, you know? It's children, all right. She had time, real PNM, you know? Former TNT football, Jamal Shabazz coach, Hans Devines. Oh Lord, the man who, when Rowley played Tassa, he says, boss, you play so good, boss, you have talent. Eh? The man's head so far up, Rowley K-Pax, it does echo. When Harvey, then he had motivational speaker Curtis Toussaint, social entrepreneur Kusi Edwards, former Olympic Hazy Crawford, economist Karen Victor, and DJ Christopher Gillionaire Leacock. But somebody missing? Somebody missing. No, man. Michelle Benjamin is an MP. She's not in government now, she'll be in government soon. But her work is to take care of the people of Murga Tableland. They pay she to do that. She just takes his salary and buy hamper and thing for people and stay hungry, she said. But she said that's why she looking slim. But she does serve the people. But that is she work. Now all you go say the Douglas lie. If I was to tell all you that it have an MP who work it is to take care and serve people, and they form a PNM committee, and he went on the committee and take money from all the taxpayers to sit on the committee, all you say a lion. Keith Scotland is the MP for Port of Spain South. He went and sit on PNM recovery committee that give nada, not a dynamite, not a mosquito repellent, not a boxer tree plume, nothing for the people. But Keith Scotland get $10,000 based on the report of the Auditor General on the public accounts of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Keith Scotland went on a committee to help black people in the constituency and had to be paid to sit on the committee to take care of his constituents. And all you vote for that? Let me read all they don't say, Anil, look at here. Payment made out of public money, is that your money, to a member of parliament in accordance with section 25(2) of the Act. Section 25(2) states, the Auditor General shall set out in his annual or her annual report all payments made out of public monies to a member of each House of Parliament, other than the salary and allowances paid to him as a minister. Well, Keith Scotland ain't really no minister, because he's a black bencher, he can't even get a kobo sweat. So they put Puya Man, and now they put Limo, and Keith Scotland just there. So how they appease Keith Scotland? Let's see. Item 124. Ministry of Youth Development and National Service at note number 4 to the appropriation accounts reported $10,000 was paid to Mr. Keith Scotland as a committee member of the Community Recovery Program. So nothing a recoverer except he pocket. And all you vote for that to take care of his own constituents, the PNM pay Keith Scotland. Well, all you reach. But you had a prime minister who show your love, who show your heart. And when you know that someone loves children, that's where it starts. If you could attack children, you're breeding evil. Satan in your genes, Satan in your nose hole, in your ear hole, Satan in your heart, in your pancreas, Satan all over you if you can't help children. Rowley take everything from the children. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Tim Gopi Singh and Fazal Karim had laptops. School feeding increased from 58,000 to 74,000, 2 meals per day. Gate went up from 300 million to 726 million. Schools built 106. Textbook program 133 million a year. Rowley take textbook from children. Wages increase. UTT funding, COSTAT, MIC, NESC centers built, increase. Nursing school, TT, the hotel school, scholarships, planning school, guidance counselors, social workers, OGT, job creation, 55,000. That was Kamla, because Kamla loved people. A bad father steals the resources from his children. A bad father earns his money and ends up in the casino drinking rum and punching till he wastes out all his money and goes home empty. That's a bad father. Rowley's web of corruption spans across the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago like a spider web created by the most deadly spiders on earth. Noel Garcia building everything and anything under this earth, from hospital to school, to airport, to health center, to Red House, President's House, Rowley House in Tobago, every single house in Trinidad and Tobago, sports stadium, community center, police station, one man. And I remember going in a Massey stores, Alice Glen, and seeing Noel Garcia come out with one big bag. And I swear, before I get my glasses from optometrist today, I swear I see Rowley name on the bag. I said, what, where Noel Garcia going with that big bag coming out Massey stores? And I swear I see Rowley. I had to check my glasses. Newman George, A.A. Kwamina, the Small Pin crew, the Inez Gate neighbors, all in control of your money. When Kamla was there, one human being, one board. One human being, one chairman. That meant corporate governance. Then Rowley come and legalize thieving and gut procurement, and you all stay quiet, and you want to defend that. A man set up all the brethren them there to hold your money. Man who will never tell secret on him. Some of them cannot, because there's his lawyer and all. And then we talk about the PNM's preposterous performance paradigm. Let me repeat that, and let me spit on the mic. PNM's preposterous performance paradigm. Imagine this. Under the PNM, normally you teach your children, work hard, be the best, compete, whether it's sport, culture, exams. Now the PNM don't want that. They don't want merit. So their new paradigm is, imagine this. We taking health advice from a druggist. We taking youth inspiration from a fugitive. We taking financial direction from a failed engineer. We taking legal policy from a perjurer. We talking safety and security from a Sleepy Hollow sativa lover. We taking childcare from a pedophile. As I wrap up, I leave you with this question, a very serious question to all parents, to all fathers and mothers. As Rowley said, crime is because of bad parenting. Even though he's the worst parent on God's green earth, if I had a parent so I feel the first thing I would do is do boxing and put you in the ring. I leave you with this question, and I want you all to record it, play it, and ask it to yourselves every morning until any election call. As parents, if your teenage daughter came home and said, "Mommy, Daddy, I am pregnant for my geography teacher," would you elect that same teacher as Prime Minister? Good night.
This revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. Welcome to the revolution. People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom. Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand.
Well, I am sure that everyone who is out there viewing tonight is really enjoying this Monday night forum. And to Senator Roberts, you don't have to ask twice for the pre-action protocol letters. I am sure all of them, they're making up for the time they didn't give you. You're getting a few. Our next speaker is a UNC veteran and one of the longest serving UNC parliamentarians. He entered the parliament in 2001 as a government senator before being selected as a member of parliament for Oropouche East in 2002. In 2010, he was appointed Minister of Housing and the Environment by the then Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar. He is a distinguished academic, versed in the fields of industrial relations, development studies, and human resource management. He is also an attorney at law. A servant of the people, he has been a force to be reckoned with in the parliament, and we know how Rowley freed him, where he continues to represent the people of Oropouche East to date. Please welcome to the virtual platform tonight the Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, the Deputy Political Leader of the United National Congress, the Lion himself, Dr. Rudolph Munilal.
Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand, yeah. Come on! Cause this is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom.
Thank you very much, Angie, and thank you all for the warm welcome this evening. Let me begin by saying I got 7 pre-action protocol letters already, and 8 is not enough. Political leader, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, members of Parliament, senators, members of the National Executive, constituency officers, activists, supporters, friends assembled in San Fernando tonight, supporters, members, activists listening on our various social media platforms, including several supporters in Canada, the United States, in the Caribbean and Europe, tuning in tonight to our regular Monday night forum. Brothers and sisters all, it is indeed a great pleasure to address you this evening on some of the issues facing Trinidad and Tobago, some of the challenges facing our people, our country. May I begin by congratulating this electric, dynamic, energized platform tonight on the wonderful job so far. sometimes it is a bit intimidatory to speak after somebody like Anil Roberts. Believe it or not. But I want to congratulate Senator Damian for the wonderful presentation this evening. His energized presentation dealing with the failures of the government. And literally, he built a sweat here. We want to thank and recognize and congratulate our very dear sister, a hardworking grassroots activist, representative of the people, Michelle Benjamin. And when she speaks, you hear she's speaking from her heart concerning her constituents. She has the passion for her constituents, for the people of Moruga, Tableland, and Trinidad and Tobago. And I can assure you, she brings that passion in the parliament as well, where she represents the people there with distinction. And of course, something of a superhero on the platform of the UNC and the media. He's one of the most fearless, courageous politicians of this generation that we have ever had in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's hear it for Senator Anil Roberts. And I think people fear him so much that he may have to beg for the rest of his life for one pre-action protocol letter. Because it doesn't matter what he says. None is forthcoming. I don't think they could find senior counsel, Queen's counsel, to handle this man. So tonight he was on fire. Tonight he was dynamic as he posed very important questions. And I took note of that issue that Senator Roberts raised. I find that is a fascinating issue, that a member of parliament in the government went to work on a committee that involved developing his own constituency, and he collected $10,000 for that. But that is, no, but that's sounding like fake news. But Anil Roberts read from a report. What kind of man will do this? That is like a man picking up, he driving taxi. Anil, he pick up his children to carry them to school and he do so. And he collect money. You ever hear that? A father driving a taxi take money from his children to take them to school? But that is Keith Scotland. But that is abominable, and Anil Roberts dealt with that. So today, brothers and sisters, we meet as our beloved nation appears on autopilot. The crew of this government and cabinet has abandoned ship. Their corruption, malice, hate, incompetence has finally exposed what was always a barren, unworthy group of unskilled and remorseless souls running this country. One scandal after another appears. This has left the cabinet leaderless, without direction and without vision. Do you know the Prime Minister is not missed even when he goes missing? He is not missed. He has truly gone off the rails. This time he's off the rails. When the Prime Minister Rowley is not cussing the opposition, he buffing the media. He kept a grudge in his craw for 15 years against a reporter. The fella name is Darren Bahau, I think. Bahau. 15 years Rowley kept a grudge in his throat. And when he let loose, you know he was wrong? He was wrong on the article. He was wrong on the picture. And 15 years he keep that. Today we are in fear with this man because today CNC carried a report. I thought it was an accurate report. I don't know. The report had to do with Anita Haynes' story. And I think she wanted to say Rowley bullying Tobagonians. And CNC3 edited that. And I thought it was accurate because I listen to Anil Roberts all the time. But when he read that, Darren Bahau gone again. This man toting feelings. We had to call my brother and get a truck to carry it by the residents to carry the feelings he toting. One man can't do that. I mean, 15 years, you remember that? I can remember something last year. And this man keeping that in his throat, that tells you about the leader. He is determined to prop up his dishonored an embattled Attorney General and defend the indefensible Minister Foster Cummings. Now we understand the latter, but not the former. Why would he defend Lymore? We know why he would defend Cummings, Anil. We understand both of them eating from the same plate. We understand they're drinking from the same vessel. So we could understand that they are brothers. Now I don't know why you're getting on like that, eh? Rowley wallows in his own hate and spite with malice and revenge. He is now blaming parents. He said the problem we face is parenting now. So they can't deal with crime. It has nothing to do with policy and police and managing the society. He said, listen, this thing has to do with parenting. And now he says a public health emergency. Crime. What is he really saying? That the whole country gone mad? It's a public health emergency? Crime is crime. Crime is crime. You have policy, you have program, you have law enforcement, you have a justice system. We think the whole country gone mad? Public health emergency? But that is Rowley and D.L. Singh. Brothers and sisters, I want to remind you, do you know every year there is one significant moment? There may be more moments, but there's one. When we recognize good parenting, or let's say successful children. Do you know during the SCA, when the SCA results are presented to us, they choose the top performers, whether it's 50, 100, I don't know, and you celebrate excellence. Every modern developed society celebrates excellence in education, training, vocational skill as well. Excellence is something you must recognize and celebrate. You know they stop that now? They do away with that. Not to highlight the children who do well at the SCA. So you don't lift the children, you don't motivate, you don't inspire. A child getting a trophy, meeting a minister. When Tim Gopi Singh was there, we encouraged them to meet the children who do well, but meet their parents. That was a time we celebrate parenting as well. When you hear from children about how their parents help them, what they do to help them to do well. When you hear from the parents, their sacrifice. You know the one occasion we celebrate parenting, they do away with that. So they talk about bad parenting, but do not want to commend, to acknowledge, to reward good parenting. And that is the dilemma this government faces. That's the dilemma. Why would you do that? But when we get back in office, which will be very soon, we will acknowledge the children, the parents, the teachers, the principals. Acknowledge their good work, because how do you help the others who don't do as well is by lifting the people who do well and making them the example. So others will follow. And we do that in our constituencies as well. But the PNM and Rowley, and what is her name, Minister Foley? Dolly, Minister Dolly. There's a Foley, not a Dolly. They don't want to recognize the excellence in the children. All societies, as I said, is built on that. But I will move away from that. I think Sister Anita Haynes will deal with that as well as the bullying in Tobago by Rowley. So, yesterday, brothers and sisters, a startling, scandalous article appeared in the Sunday Express page 5. I have it in my hand, and I think they can bring up that as well to show you. Public clashes with then DPP Henderson. I don't know how much of you may have seen it. Some will not. Some will not. But I want to tell you that the ruling of the Privy Council in the Piarco 1 matter, dealing with allegations of corruption in the Piarco airport 21 years ago or so, the ruling of the Privy Council recently highlights the issue of political interference in the judiciary. This had to do with bias. The Privy Council, in a sense, say, look, all of them think all they was doing, they was biased because the chief magistrate is alleged to have colluded with the then Attorney General to look to prosecute essentially UNC ministers and a UNC Prime Minister as well. Could you imagine, I ask you all, the uproar, the protests, the amount of police action we would have seen if a UNC Attorney General, Anand Ramlogan or anybody, and a UNC Treasurer arranged to help a magistrate out of financial difficulty while he was presiding over matters involving PNM people? You could imagine what they would have done. But this is what happened. To date, nobody has been held to account. Brothers and sisters, in this article, I just read a few lines for you. It's very critical. The reporter publishes excerpts from emails between the then DPP Jeffrey Henderson, who is, I believe, now a judge at the Court of Appeal, and the then Attorney General John Jeremy, who is alive and at large in Trinidad and Tobago. He didn't pass away. The chief magistrate passed away. John Jeremy is alive and well, to our knowledge. In this series of emails, look at it. Jeremy, in a matter, January 25th, 2007, Jeremy responds to Henderson. He says, "My public utterances on the matter are not in any way to be construed as expressing a view one way or the other on the constitutional question. And quite frankly, they are none of your business." He's talking to the DPP of this country. December 20th, 2006, Jeremy wrote to Henderson again. He says, and this one is a nice one for you to remember, "Effective immediately, any and all dealings or proposed dealings which you have with the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau should be channeled through the Office of the Attorney General." Understand that? He's telling the DPP that the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau that investigating criminal allegations of criminal conduct against everybody, politician or anybody, everything come through me. That speaks to interference with the criminal justice system. Direct interference. December 18, 2006, Jeremy to Henderson. "With respect, you are not only wrong in law, but quite frankly, you are out of place." That's how Jeremy is speaking to the DPP. The DPP responds, hear this one. DPP, November 9, 2006, Henderson to Jeremy. "The advice recommended that critical charges be laid against Basdev Pandey at a time when I was not satisfied that charges could be properly laid." Henderson is telling Jeremy the advice, some advice he would have given, recommended that criminal charges be laid against Mr. Pandey. At that time, I was not satisfied that charges could be properly laid. This view was also held by Sir Timothy Castle, who led the prosecution in the Pandey trial. Imagine the man who lead the prosecution in the Pandey trial say, "Hey, I didn't think him could properly do that, you know." But there we go with it. This is what this email is saying, November 9, 2006. November 26, 2006, in around the same time, Jeremy to Henderson. "It does not lie within your mouth, in my view, to lay criticisms against the criminal justice system." That's what we're talking, you know. Rude, insulting the DPP. December 11, 2006. Hear this one. Classic. Henderson to Jeremy. "I am not subject to your directions. Your continued efforts to have me initiate charges against certain persons are highly improper, and should they continue, it can imperil the successful prosecution of any charge initiated in the matters under investigation." Henderson is telling Jeremy, you are referring to persons who are associated in one way or another with a political party that is in opposition to the government. It is therefore even more imperative that any decision to prosecute is not only independent, but must be seen to be independent. Could you imagine this? If this is true, it is a scandal. It speaks of criminal wrongdoing. And nobody says fake, huh? Nobody yet has, this came out yesterday. Today nobody responds to say it's not true. Brothers and sisters, to date, none of them have been held accountable for their actions. Coming in the heels of that judgment I told you about the Privy Council, this article came out yesterday, which shocked, I think it should send a chill up your spine, that an Attorney General was doing this. He was exchanging correspondence, insulting, belittling the then DPP in a direct attempt to pressure the DPP to bring criminal charges against UNC officials. Don't forget the PNM established the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau. They started it and put it in the Office of the Attorney General. This was the beginning of the political witch hunt. But you see, they were learning from a next party called the PNC in Guyana, who also did something like that. Who also did that, but I'll speak about them next time, not tonight. So as you would have seen in this Express article, Jeremy wanted communications between the police and the DPP to pass through him. He was the filter. This is what this happens when the PNM is in power. They cannot keep their paws off any independent institution. That is the PNM. In this administration, let's jump now. That's 2006, 2007, and so on. Today, 2020, 21, 22, let's talk about now. In this administration, look how they interfered with the Police Service Commission, recommended a commissioner of police to the president. The prime minister jump up, he says, me. I go on and I tell them, hold your hand on that. We don't want that. This is how they interfere with the police and the DPP. The office of the DPP is constitutionally protected. The independence of that office is so important because it is essential to isolate that office from political interference. That is why it is provided for in the Constitution. The police is also supposed to be independent and don't take instructions from politicians and cabinet and prime minister. They report and work with the DPP. If they are investigating a matter and need clarification or they need an opinion, that should be done by the DPP, who must instruct and advise. This is how the setup, the criminal justice system, is established. Jeremy then and others today are directly interfering with the DPP. They are directly interfering. In this government, you know what they have done? They believe they get catch trying to interact directly. They hire people from England and say, okay, you come, we paying you, you go and tell the DPP what to do. So today they have hired English people, make them SRP, give them $40 million, and their job is to investigate selected persons from the UNC. Not everybody. It has nothing to do with investigating white-collar crime and things. It's selected persons, and they now have to go and advise the DPP. So you see the same thing continues, that interference. And day to day, the foreign people, $40 million later, trying to influence the TTPS as to who to investigate because they are getting funding by the central government. So today, and I'm coming to it just now, body cam. The commissioner, he looking hard to find money to buy this. There's a charger. I buy one today. Look it. In fact, I walk with the bill to show all you too. I really buy it. There's the bill. Yeah. Look at the bill here. I buy this today. It's $400. If you buy $1,600, you'll get cheaper. The police don't have money to buy this, to charge body cam. They don't have this. They can't buy it. They say, we can't charge that. We don't know. We have the camera, but we don't have the charger. Now, when you buy an iPhone, you just get a box with a charger. When you go home, you add that to the other 5 you have. Huh? So do you buy camera, but you forget to say, boss, this camera, you could get a charger to go with it? This is the state of scandal. But $40 million to SRP Kate and the English to persecute and chase down and witch hunt. Brothers and sisters, these people advising DPP and police, they go on and take warrant like you just buy doubles. They take about 27, 30 warrant. Talking to everybody at the side of the road they could find. If they find the vagrant, they got warrant for he too. And they are on a political persecution. But they cannot take the money and give the police for resources. The police in our community just go to the garage and beg the garage to fix a police car free. That is what's happening. And the government is wasting money. So don't let them tell you they don't have money. They have money. They are squandering it. They allocate monies of the taxpayer for political persecution. They claim the chasing corruption is not that. When they came in office, you all remember, they withdrew the Malcolm Jones case in the court. So what white-collar crime you're chasing? They withdrew the E-Tech, Ken Julian case as well. So today, I want to remind the national community that a criminal offense called misbehavior in public office, a criminal offense, there is no statute of limitation. So today, in light of the reports carried yesterday in the newspaper, The Express, in light of these reports, I am saying that there is more than enough evidence to suggest that John Jeremy should be investigated for misbehavior in public office and attempting to pervert the course of justice. That is what they were doing. He was attempting to put political pressure on the DPP to prosecute political opponents. Rowley, Stewart, Alwari, watch it. You could be falling in the same grave as Jeremy. They could be falling. Others are doing the same thing, brothers and sisters. Tonight I make a special plea. The former DPP Henderson is a judge at the Court of Appeal, and it would be so easy to contact him, easy to find him, easy to get a statement from him. As a judicial officer, he should do all within his power to make sure that such a brazen attempt to interfere in criminal prosecutions do not go unpunished. Confidence in the administration of justice demands that action be taken against any politician who uses his office for gain, whether financial or political. Was Jeremy driven by financial or political? Was he driven by money or malice? That is a matter for the police, and the police must investigate these serious allegations made by former DPP Henderson. So John Jeremy, your name now with Rowley, Foster Cummins, on the list of persons being investigated by the the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau. But they have a next matter before them I want to raise. And I want to begin by congratulating Senator the Honorable David Naked. I want to congratulate him. That senator is the epitome of shared determination, unmatched courage, perseverance. The fella write the DPP not one letter, not two letter, not three letter. When I read one, there's 6 letter he write the DPP. One time I thought he would run out of ink and paper. He persevered, he continued. Notwithstanding, I want to congratulate him on that type of unrelenting political stamina that he shows. Naked really teaches us that the pen is mightier than the sword. Today, we are told by a letter sent to Senator Naked, I have the letter here, they can pull up the letter for you to read, that the Acting Commissioner of Police has confirmed that matter of Keith Rowley interfering with the Police Service Commission by somehow getting information to withdraw that merit list is before the Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau. I want to know if they're asking SRP Kate from England to help them with that investigation. I want to know if they're asking anybody from England, Britain, America, Europe, Grenada, Guyana, anyway, to help with that. Because it is not Rowley alone. It is the former members of the Police Service Commission. Bliss, where's the list? Si Pasad. Only remember she? Bliss, where's the list? She in that too. The president, by allowing her office to be manipulated, is in that too. So the police has to investigate all of them, and they may need, brothers and sisters, the help of the English people too. If you need that for EMBDC, you should need it for this too. So they should approach them. They must interview all the actors and actresses in this sordid matter, brothers and sisters. Interview all and investigate whether Rowley misbehaved in public office. He had no business in that. His business was when the list comes to the parliament, he could stand up in the parliament and say, look, we don't want this man. He purple and we don't like him. He wearing a long jersey and we don't like him. We don't like the shoes or the socks. You could say anything you want. Why you're rejecting a candidate, which they have done before. They reject about 5 people in parliament before, remember? They could have rejected Gary Griffith, but no, he interfered in the process where he should not. And that is now before the police. And Senator Naked, every week you should write Jacob a letter and ask him what's happening. Ask him that, brothers and sisters. Ask him. Amish, what we going to do, Dread? What we going to do with all of that now? And this is the sorry state we find with country. This is the sorry state, brothers and sisters, that they will now investigate. And while all of this happening, what about this Minister of National Security? Fail Gerald Hines. That is the man. Fail Gerald Ethelbert Hines refused to take responsibility. I asked him last week, a question was on everybody's mind. I asked him a question. TikTok had a record of 20,000 views. Everybody want to know the answer. When the hell will you resign out of your utter failure to manage national security? What you waiting on, Heinz? What you waiting on, Belgrove? You waiting on Boodoos to carry out? What you waiting on? Time to get out. You are tonight in the airport. I could tell you now, happening now. Happening now. In the airport tonight, out of a staff of immigration of 16 to 20 people, 5 show up for work. 5. Out of the 5, only 1 is working in arrivals. Tonight, our citizens, tourists, are lining up in tears, in pain, in trauma in the airport, waiting on 1 immigration officer to see them. That immigration division is under failed Gerald Hines. And what is their grievance? They have not been paid overtime allowance for 1 year now. They have not been paid other allowances, including overtime. So it is a shame that in the airport, people who travel hours and hours on a plane, you're tired. You're tired, you have children and baby crying. They are in this airport for hours and hours waiting on 1 immigration officer. 1! Because the rest of them stayed away because the government cannot manage. The incompetent Hines cannot manage to meet and treat with the workers. Man, if you're owing people money, pay the people. At least negotiate settlements so they will stay and work while we pay them in a little bit if we have to. But he cannot do that. Same thing with the lifeguard. I pray to God Hines don't go swimming with them locks and maracas one day, you know. In fact, I think he could be safer if it have no lifeguard. He could be safer without a lifeguard. If them lifeguard there, that might be a different story. For him, you might just see locks floating or something. So brothers and sisters, this is the incompetence. This is the incompetence we are talking about tonight in the airport. And I told you before, this immigration division has always had problems. Hines cannot manage. Look at this situation with body camera, but that's a classic now. That is a classic. I have it here for you too. Body cameras. Nowhere you could find a more shocking example of incompetence, willful neglect, and a cock and bull story to go with it. They have 1,600 body cams that Gary Griffith ordered and procured. When they come here, they say they don't have chargers for the device. Fail Gerald Hines boasting that the police busy distributing body cams around the country. The acting COP say, me know about that. Huh? We have a technological infrastructure problem. Say, what is the technical infrastructure? He said, we don't have a charger. That's the technical problem we have. And the body cam is in a box somewhere under somebody's office. They might be using that as a pira right now. That is where we are. When people are being killed in circumstances where there are legitimate questions about the conduct of police officers. A body cam is not only to tell you police was wrong, you know. The body cam is to tell you police was right. It's to clear the policeman of false accusations. It is to tell you what happened. All over America, you always watch shows and things on TV all the time. This thing has become commonplace. And tonight I want to ask the Commissioner of Police, I mean, surely this, you can't be a charger. We could send somebody in Miami tonight to bring the charger back in the morning. If that is the problem. Tonight we could buy that tank, bring it back. Rohan Sananan went Miami once, all you remember? And he bring back what he claimed was a suitcase as spare parts for some machine. Yeah, he brings something back in his suitcase. You could have sent people to get those things, those easy to get. The commissioner say, we don't have the command center operational, wireless technology. What he think this is, a CIA black ops operation? We think it's a FBI drug bust on the high seas, where we want live video at the command center. Live video to see what? Huh? A roadblock in Debe? That is where the cameras turn on. They record the evening exercise or whatever, all interaction with the police. And if need be, if there's an incident, there's a complaint, days after you go and say, let's get that footage. The footage is on the machine or is back at the police station. You don't need to see nothing live. What you want to see live? There's not a show, it's not a movie going on. But this is what normally does in America. They will go out there and as soon as they interact with the public, the rule is, you put on this camera and you thing. When you go into the washroom, where you keep on the camera for it to go live at the command center. What nonsense are they talking about? That is only for interaction and it is not for all police. That is for the police who are on the front line, a minority of policemen. We used to sit down in the office whole day stamping paper for bar license and rum license and thing. Where you want body cam for that? This is for police out there. And there's no need for no command center infrastructure that way. They keep the footage, they go in the police station, you could download it on a computer or somewhere at the police station or headquarters. This is the footage of the last 7 days by Officer Munilal. You keep that. If there's no complaint in 21 days or whatever, you erase that. And this is what they cannot do. So brothers and sisters, in light of that public demonstration and the fatal confrontation with the police, the body cams are critical. And the police commissioner must act quickly to ensure that those body cams are operational and are in use. And I think the police commissioner should stop hanging out with Hines. Have you noticed the more Hines is focused and pictured and photographed with the commissioner, is the more the commissioner talking something kind of wrong? It is the effect of Hines. He's hovering around. And that is the effect on him. So Hines, you should stay away from the commissioner. And if you cannot get 1,600 body cams to work, then you should be fired, removed from office. I told colleagues the other day, I said, you could imagine, Anil, he was in the cabinet, if at a National Security Council meeting, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar was told that 1,600 body cams in our office somewhere pack up because we don't have chargers. My friend, the Minister of National Security would be calling a taxi to go home. He would have to call his wife and say, come and pick me up. I don't have a job to come home. She would have pelted him out the window of the upper floor. You can't survive in Kamla Persad-Bissessar cabinet with that level of incompetence. Never. And the body cams are critical. But don't be surprised. You all remember the whole talk about pepper spray, pepper spray, pepper spray? Where the pepper spray? Where gone? Every January, there's remember pepper spray at the death anniversary of Andrea Barrett, who was brutally murdered and kidnapped. That's the only time people remember pepper spray. When the anniversary of the death. In fact, we should call it the January pepper spray. Because that's all the time people, then just forget that. What about what else? Tasers for defenseless persons or persons operating in the night, going to work and things. Tasers. What about the electronic monitoring system, which we passed the law for? All of that they have failed to implement, brothers and sisters, because they're busy playing golf. The chairman of Paria, have you all seen the news? He's going to France now. You know, you tell people go to France? Well, he's going to France, literally. He's the manager of a golf team going to France. September 3rd, he gone, chairman of Paria. When they are investigating the divers matter, he out, as he was away from the divers matter. And I'll come to that in a minute. So brothers and sisters, that is the incompetence. A final issue I'll leave you with tonight. I had raised with you on June 10th, thereabout, during the very successful meetings of the STAR team. And again, we want to thank all of you for your overwhelming support to Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her STAR team that delivered a resounding victory at the polls. But on June 10th, I had raised a matter, and I raised it, I think, subsequent to that as well, of UDCOT. You remember I told you in UDCOT, they had done something that was considered mad. They had accepted tenders for the construction of what is called the Central Block. And I told you that they accepted tenders, and when tenders closed at 4 o'clock a Friday evening, May 23rd, I think, they went and say, the next bidder apparently sent it in, and it had a next technological infrastructure problem. The bid didn't come in. So we accept that third bid. Only 2 people bid, but they accepted a third when the record showed that that third did not bid by 4:30, the closing deadline. And the other bidders did not know of the third bidder. So they were disadvantaged. They didn't know what was the price, what that third bidder come in at. And they actually went the Monday after and made presentations and didn't know there was a third bidder. UDCOT claimed we had a technical glitch. You know, they went and gave the contract to the third bidder. Quiet, quiet. Emoni, pusur, pusur. They go on and give the bidder, the third bidder, who did not submit properly on time. Whether it was technical or not is irrelevant. The rule is clear. Even if there's a technical problem, it is not the fault of UDCOT, you cannot qualify. You understand what happened there? Now, brothers and sisters, that was for the Central Block, what is called construction. You know UDCOT do it again? They do it again. Jolene, UDCOT go on bold and brave and put out this. I think we have it here. Proposal for the management of tower cranes for the redevelopment of the central block at Port of Spain General Hospital. Big 24-page UDCOT, huh? 24-page, man. One company and one company alone submitted a bid called Trinidad Tower Crane Services Limited. They submit a bid. So when the time comes, they will know when you open the box or whatever, that only one company submit a bid. So UDCOT tell the company, well, always the only people who could have crane operation is those big giant cranes you have all around the buildings and so on when you're in construction and things. That's a very sophisticated thing, huh? And that has to do with life and death, huh? Right. So one company, Trinidad Tower Crane Services Limited, put in their bid. They said they were doing it before with Shanghai. They were working with Shanghai before, and now they want the job again, so they put in their bid. They went back and bid. When the results come out, one company alone put in the bid. So UDCOT say, well, come now, let's negotiate now so we could get this thing going. Lo and behold, UDCOT then tell them, okay, we need you again. They went and give the same contractor they give through the back door, they give them the management of tower cranes contract. Without the company even bidding, without even taking place. What these people think they're running? Huh? Where's Afra Raymond? First to begin, is he on the compound? Is he alive? Did he migrate? If he migrate, which country he went to? What is the JCC or something doing? They know about this, they care. When we in office, man lying down hungry over highway. Every Monday morning, JCC and the papers and the news, we know all of them name more than David Rudder and Sparrow and Kitchener. You know them name. Now you're not hearing them. UDCOT go on and give the same Universal, I believe, the contract for this. You know what the company did? They call up Tower Crane and say, hello, we could hire some of your people. So they knew the price because it's public when you bid the price. So they knew the price, the people come in. They went now and give the company, same company the contract. The company go on and hire the workers at the company that did not get the contract. They take the workers. But you know what's important about that, and I'll tell you. Apart from the legal issue, and there's a serious problem. When you do that, you take the workers at the lower level, well, not the lower levels, high skill, but the operators. But you do not take management. You do not take supervisory staff. You do not take health and safety. That is dangerous. Because a man is operating a crane, yes, but he needs supervision. He needs to work within a very tight, rigid, disciplinary health and safety policy environment, where if you appear one day and your boots have a hole, there's a problem. So by doing that, they may be exposing workers to serious accidents, to injury to limb, or to fatal injuries when you do things like that. Because the main company, has the supervisory, managerial staff to manage the operators. But when you take the operators, you go out on the street, you say, who driving that car? Who driving that truck? Come, I hire you. But you have no staff in place to manage. So this is another situation, and I pray to God that all of us are wrong, that there is no tragedy at that Port of Spain Central Block. Tonight I want to alert you that this matter is deserving of a public inquiry into the construction of the Port of Spain Central Block. This is a Las Alturas matter again, and it's the same character. A fella named Noel Garcia, we could call his name. He's involved in this. And Mr. Garcia, tonight, be on alert. Be on alert. We also intend to write the Integrity Commission on this matter and your role in this matter. Because you see, the Integrity Commission does play smart. They want to investigate people who by their action or inaction cause a contract to be given to somebody. Right? They want to investigate that. And they're investigating one or two of that we are aware of. But they must investigate this as well. Because by the action or inaction of Noel Garcia, he has caused a benefit to go to one company and a disadvantage to another company. And that constitutes public mischief and misbehavior in public office that leads to financial benefit for someone else. So brothers and sisters, we will not leave that alone. That's called the heart all over again at UDCOT. Noel Garcia, he was in the same HDC. When we went there was a mess to clean up Jolene John. And when we say mess, I mean literal mess too. They build housing estate, give out all the house and forget to build a sewer system. Jolene John had to send in 20 trucks every Monday morning to pump waste, to put it in a nice way. To pump waste. So we had to figuratively, metaphorically, and literally clean up the mess of the PNM. That is what happened there. So brothers and sisters, we will keep you posted with some of these matters. A public inquiry into the Central Block. The Shanghai contract for $1 billion collapsed. They gave a bidder who never bid in time. They go on and give him the contract. Now the crane operator who qualified, they didn't give the crane operator the contract. That major company that is doing this and is one of the very few companies in the Caribbean that has capacity to do this. So you will hear more of that soon. The final issue now, which is really a minute or two to tell you, the divers matter. Take note, we will talk on another occasion about that divers issue. A new commission, chairman of a commission of inquiry was appointed, Mr. Jerome Lynch, Queen's Counsel, replacing Mr. Dennis Morrison, Queen's Counsel. A chairman of a commission, before the things start good, he gone. He said, well, June 14, 2022, the resignation. He says for personal reasons, personal. I don't want to stay. Personal. Now, I will say more on that on another occasion, but I don't want to prejudice or preempt any other statements on that matter by persons who are more in the know than I. So, brothers and sisters, in concluding, it's time I finish my statement. I want to again thank all of you for the overwhelming support to our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and her team that was victorious in our internal elections. This team is a strong team. We are driven by a strong leader, a leader who provides guidance, a leader who provides, the direction in which we must go at all material times. She provides direction, she provides guidance, and really motivates and inspires a team that is well prepared, ready in the shortest possible time to take over the reins of power in Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, Keith Rowley, by his behavior, he is ready to go. He is ready to go. All he needs is a little push in the back. Just a little push. He's ready to go. The fella like he frustrated already, he's ready to go. But UNC, we are ready. We are waiting. We are strong. We are united. We have one leader, one party, one vision. We have the plans. The country knows that you will see progress with the UNC. The country knows the compassion of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, her leadership capability, all that she has done and her government has done when we were there 2010 to 2015. You all know it sometime by heart. So brothers and sisters, today I want to call upon all of you to work harder than we worked before, to unite more than we united before, to join hands, lock our arms in an embrace, support our political leader as the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Rowley must go, brothers and sisters. The government must go. And tonight we say the UNC is on the move. We are UNC and we are proud. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. And God bless you all.